To our next conversation now. In recent times, Nigeria's economy has been characterized by recessions and persistently low growth. Electioneering is in full gear right now for 2023. Let's look at what business leaders are worried about leading into the elections. Join us now, Gbemisola Alunge, Senior Public Policy Analyst at STARS. Good morning, Gbemi. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Yeah, so quite a crucial time, in any economy, the pre-election year. What would you say, business leaders, should look out for, talking about signals for an administration that's serious about reviving, this economy?
Yeah, so I think one thing that people would look out for or should look out for is just an improvement to what is currently existing. So Nigeria currently has, for the last 8 years, we've had very low growth and 2 recessions in just the space of 2 years. Inflation has been super high. So inflation at the moment is 23%. For food, inflation is even much higher. People are also looking to the government to see how fiscally prudent it is in managing its finances. So a government that continues to borrow and has high debt interest payments relative to its revenue signals that a lot of money that's going to come into the government, especially in foreign exchange, will be going to debt payments. So things like that are just what people would want to see how the next president or the next administration would look to fix. So first thing is, how are you planning to generate growth in the economy? How do you plan to improve the economy? How do you plan to solve unemployment? Because if the economy isn't growing, if the economy is in recessions over and over again, what that means is that companies are going to go bust. A lot of companies will close down and unemployment will keep rising. So what people would want to see is how the government plans to improve the existing crunches and the existing negative situations that people are just faced with. This time is different because there are times when people wouldn't really focus on GDP growth. I mean, when there's some critical issues that would border on like consumer behavior more than others. So for instance, you'd hear people speak more about inflation and how prices of everything is just increasing. This year alone, diesel prices have tripled. So people are focused on how do you plan to reduce the cost of diesel so that I can run my business a lot less than I'm currently running it. People want to see, how do I get foreign exchange cheaper, or how do I even get it at all? So because in some cases you can't even get foreign exchange because of the high demand and just low supply in several quarters, and just restrictions on the official side. So things like that are just what people need to focus on now, and people would be gearing to hear what the presidential aspirants want to do about it.
Yeah, we were getting a lot of manifestos rolling in at this time. But how are consumers faring through this low growth economy?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult for Nigerian consumers. Like I was saying before, people would always pay attention when it has to do with like their pockets and how they live their lives. For instance, you wouldn't hear as many people revolt against like how the excess crude account is being spent. But when people hear that, fuel prices are increasing, people come out and they riot. People come out and they basically ask for ask for better. It's the same way Nigerians have been plagued with persistently high inflation. Inflation in Nigeria now is decades high. So people want to find out how the government plans to reduce those prices. And why is inflation so high? Different things from like cost of energy, insecurity for food, farmer headers crisis, just different things that have just caused, prices to go up significantly. So that's something that Nigerians would want you to fix at this time. At the moment, Nigerian consumers are not even faring well at all. I mean, you and I can probably relate to the fact that food prices and just prices of everything in general is higher than usual. So Nigerians are not faring well at all.
Yeah, quite a tough time, with squeezed incomes, and globally, it's also a problem most countries are going through. But Nigeria's crude oil production is the lowest it's been in the last 30 years due to theft and vandalism. What repercussion has this had for business leaders, and what should they keep in mind, when planning for next year?
Yeah, so one thing that one impact that has had is that it has caused, the government's revenue to reduce significantly. So, and also caused, a reduction in foreign exchange. So the government earns foreign exchange through crude oil sales and all that. But where the government isn't earning enough because it's not producing enough, that means that it has to continuously the government has to continuously ration the foreign exchange that's coming in. Earlier in the year, the CBN had mentioned how they hadn't gotten any dollars at all this year from the NNPC, and that's because any dollar that the NNPC gets, it uses to pay subsidies, and then it's not remitting much to the CBN. And now the CBN at the moment, because of low foreign exchange in foreign investments into the country, the CBN has had to be the main provider or main supplier of foreign exchange to banks. What that means is if this situation of oil is not fixed, this crunch and this low supply of foreign exchange in the Nigerian space will continue. For foreign investors as well, what this means is if you see the CBN doesn't have that much dollars and there's a bit of a back and forth between the CBN and the NNPC, what that means is that this supply situation would continue. So foreign investors do not want to come in. I mean, we saw earlier in the year how airlines had claimed, they were owed a lot, billions of dollars, really, and were unable to repatriate their funds back home. So no investor wants to come in and realize that, I can't take my money out because, the government is just not getting enough foreign exchange and all that. So that's what businesses want to find out now. That's what businesses are looking out for. How can I import things without having to go through the hassle of getting foreign exchange from the black markets? Or even if I'm going to get it from the black markets, how are you stabilizing these prices on the official side so that there's an impact on the on the parallel side. So those are the things. Right now, it's not looking good for anyone looking to import anything into Nigeria because just after the announcement of printing new bills, the foreign exchange increased again. I mean, the foreign exchange rates increased again. So those are things that will just continue to happen. And until this oil production situation is fixed, it would even get worse.
And obviously, we see COP27 on at this time. I'm sure they don't really want all that oil, all that oil money at this time. But Nigeria's fiscal deficit, has increased about 4x since 2016. What do you think businesses now should actually look out for and prepare for what might be coming, in the next administration?
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be a really tough one for the next administration because, I mean, as Nigeria's fiscal deficit continues to increase, there's a lot of posturing from the foreign investors and foreign lenders about not wanting to give Nigeria money anymore. How, I guess, Nigeria doesn't presents itself as the best person to lend money to at the moment. First, it was from the Minister of Finance mentioning that there might be some restructuring going on, to Moody's downgrading Nigeria's rating, and just different businesses have even felt the impact as well by just being in Nigeria, regardless of how well your business is doing or how badly it's doing. Investors sort of are skeptical about, investing in Nigeria. So that's the thing, right? Once the government has this negative outlook, or this negative investment outlook or lending outlook, it sort of spreads to all other businesses. As the next government comes in, borrowing will be more difficult and more expensive. So the government has to find a way to plug in those revenue leakages, find ways that we can earn more. I mean, our fiscal deficit has increased by 4 times since 2016. It is not looking good. Like, we keep borrowing and we've been borrowing so much. Now we've gotten to the point where our debt repayment is more than revenue. So the government is borrowing more to repay existing debts. That's not a good look until they increase revenue again, until revenue is back to normal and we're able to fix and repay our debt as well as usual and still find money to sort of develop the economy. It would look bad for businesses because just by being in Nigeria, they are already getting negative outlooks. Banks and even large organizations, large conglomerates doing business in Nigeria have been downgraded by rating agencies. And until the revenue situation is fixed, that will still continue to have impacts on Nigerian businesses.
And we still have the, debt servicing issues. So what can businesses and consumers, expect going into an election year?
So yeah, I mean, at Stairs, we're all about providing data and insights to Nigerians. And one way that we're doing that is by not just giving people, information about the economy, but also letting them know about the elections coming forward. So we've launched our Stairs election site, which gives people information about, candidates. And one big thing about this site and what gives it an edge over others is how granular it is. Now you're going beyond just finding out who the presidential aspirants are, to finding out who the House of Representative aspirants are, up until like their polling units. It's very difficult to find information about anything outside of presidential or gubernatorial. It's difficult to find information about them. So right now, what Nigerians want to know is who do we vote for in 2023? There's a lot of political awareness, and one anecdotal evidence of that is just the increased voters registration numbers. So at the moment, 94 million people are waiting to vote in 2023. And one thing that they want to find out is, I mean, everywhere you hear people say, oh, I mean, right now there's a third force, that's a third major political party. But what you hear in some circles is how, it's not just about being president, who will be in the Senate, who will be in the House of Representatives, who are the people that, would help the president's vision come to life. And that's what we're trying to shed light on at Stairs. Right now, from the Stairs set election sites, you can actually find out who are the people running for House of Representatives up until like the different ward units. If you're from Delta East or Delta North, you can find out who the different people running for those House of Reps positions are, so that you're better informed and so that you make better choices in 2023. So we launched the site today, and what we're focused on is KYC for everybody. Know your candidates. Who are the different candidates that you believe would, push your mission forward? And beyond just telling you the people running, we go a step further to actually telling you, what party does this person belong to? How old is this person? Has this person been in elections in the past? How has the person fared? So just basically helping you to make better choices by focusing deep and like just drilling deeper, not just the presidential level this time, not just gubernatorial elections, but up until like even state House of Representatives, so that Nigerians are making better decisions across all levels of the elections this time. So that's what we're focused on, and that's what businesses should sort of pay attention to. And I guess we're here to provide them with the data, and we've already done that.
I guess that's a new dimension there for KYC. Know your candidate. Thank you so much. I was Bimisola Alonge, Senior Public Policy Analyst at Stairs. It was great having you.
Thanks for having me.